36 days. The poster looks amazing. It's a bloody red poster. इतने
Yeah, it's
सारे
quite red.
खंडर.
Did you think it was quite red?
Absolutely. Red as it can be. And so many
They aren't
gorgeous women.
subtle, are they? They're not very subtle.
No, no subtle at all. Subtlety gone for the toss. Yeah. So, of course, bloody red poster. There are so many gorgeous women there, and then there is this handsome, dishy, delicious dude, which you are. Are you
Dripping with
the
red.
sexy? Are you the sexy killer then?
Am I the sexy killer? Well, you'll have to wait and watch for all the sexiness
Or you
and
get killed?
killerness.
Or are you? Do you get killed?
I'm only a killer drummer, nothing else.
Lady killer, that is.
Lady killer. Well, thank you, Pratham.
Yeah.
I'll take care of
It looks amazing. It looks amazing. The star cast is amazing, and all the promising talents are there. What is it like when you have a pool of talented actors around you with a bloody story thrown right, which is a centerpiece? What was the experience like? Of course, it's a stock question. You can give it a twist or two, probably. So go ahead.
It's a stock question, but you put it very interestingly. When you started off by saying that, what do you do when you have this lovely ensemble of cast together? And the right thing to do is give them all something to do. Give them all the actors. You've got brilliant actors. Very often we see in great ensembles, in our business, especially in India, and the films and the shows that get made in India, the ensemble is not doing much, And I think 36 Days, really the brilliant cast that they've cast, all the actors. I mean, I feel very privileged to be in the presence of all these lovely actors. And all of them have contributed to the main conflict of the show. And in a way, they're all linked to the main sort of mystery of the show, which is the death of Farah Zaidi, which is Neha's character. So that's what you do with them. You give them all something interesting to do. So I like that take of yours on the question, on the stock question.
Interesting indeed. I love the texture. I love the feel of it. And so much so that I almost read it as 365 days instead of 36 days. I said, bring it on. We can watch it for 365 days. Come on.
Well, if it was on television, it would be a daily. Let's say that.
Spare me horror. Spare me horror.
It's on Sony Live. Yeah. It's only 36 days.
Absolutely. Little over a month, though. Little over a month.
Yeah.
And why this thing is called 36 days precisely?
I'm not quite sure, actually, because the original show is called 35 Days. So I'm not quite sure why they stuck to 36 days. I don't know if it is a copyright thing or whether it's a good question, because I haven't asked that question. Maybe they wanted to increase the story by one day, the craft that they were taking. Because the show really it starts off in the first episode, there's a death of a person, and then you go back to 36 days when that person arrives into this housing complex. And that's why it's 36 days. And slowly in those 36 days, things are unveiled from the mystery, the cloud of mystery that lurks and hangs over this housing colony, Casa de Magnolia in Goa. Oh, I sound like the advertisement, like the trailer itself.
And apart from these gorgeous women who are also lurking around, what seduced you completely to do this one?
I think, Pratham, the first thing that sort of gets my attention is when anything comes from BBC Studios, you know for a fact that it's a tried and tested, well-written series from around the world that they brought to you. That's what BBC does. It brings their shows that they do in the UK or they do anywhere else in the world. It's been successful. A lot of money and a lot of time has been spent on creating those shows, so that the writing is fantastic. It's been researched. It's been a lot of intelligent minds have worked on it and put it together. And then they bring the crux of that at least, to India. and then they work with other creative teams over here within their office, within Applause's office, and within the web distributors platform if it's commissioned before, and then they try and sort of create it, texture it for an Indian flavor, to try and get the Indian audience hooked onto a story that's actually international.
For someone who knows the urban landscape of India as you do, as a VJ, as a host who predominantly has done more work in the medium of English, the language that is, and therefore know the someone who knows the urban landscape, do you then look at the content with a Desi perspective? Do you consciously look for those elements that make these Western concepts absolutely Desi?
What is Desi and what is Western now? Because I grew up in a part of India which is in Bombay called Bandra. Now become very popular with the world, but when I was growing up, it was a little village. It was the first suburb of Bombay. We used to play cricket on the roads, and busy roads of Bandra. I used to play cricket between 1 and 4 in the afternoon because it used to be closed. Linking Road and Hill Road used to be closed between 1 and 4 when I was growing up. So I'm talking 25 years ago. So it's changed now. It's become the center of Bombay. But I grew up influenced in an English medium school, influenced by Western culture. But that I'm Indian. That is also India, right? That's also India. At the same time, if you go into southern parts of India, I don't know, which part of India do you come from, Pratham? Are you from Bombay or are you from...
Born and raised in Bombay.
Born and raised in Bombay, but your family originates from where? Because nobody's actually from Bombay. Bombay was 7 islands at the British...
From the Konkan belt. If you are aware, the Konkan belt, yeah.
Konkan belt, okay, so Konkan region. So if you go into southern parts of India, they don't identify with a lot of things that we would say are very rural and Indian. Yes, there's rural India, there's urban India. You can differentiate that. But every 200 kilometers, and even from Bombay, which is on Western India, to the Konkan region, you can see what a difference it is. There's a huge difference between someone who comes from even Kashid and someone who comes from Ratnagiri. And someone who comes from even further down south, and if you go into Goa. I think someone from Sawantwadi has more in common with someone from Goa than he has with someone in Bombay, or in Nagpur, which is Maharashtra. So I think India is very different, and it is many cultures, many names. That's the beauty about the country. That's the beauty about the country, and you say because I've grown up in urban India, and most of my work that I've done is in I live in England, and I know that our English also is different. Sometimes I say things over here, and when I say it's not words only, it's the words used for certain things. It's a very Indian way of speaking English. I speak in Indian English. I don't speak a British English. So it's a very different way of speaking English also. That is Indian. It's not Westernized. It's Indian. Influenced, but it's not sort of Western. So you had
your cookies on the side.
Sorry, you're breaking. I didn't get that.
So you had your coffee with cookies on the side.
Well, they drink more tea than coffee.
More tea than coffee. Absolutely.
More tea than coffee. So that's quite Indian, right?
Yeah. And as Shruti was telling me the other day that, of course, the one person she could gel most with was you, of course, because you go back a
long way. Yeah,
So how do you break that, so to speak, the VJ mode, the proverbial VJ mode, and get into the skin of the character?
Well, I think the VJ in me grew up a long time ago. That's why I stopped being a VJ. I quit Channel V long before Channel V ended its game. And that was primarily because I felt like I'd outgrown it. I was young when I started working with Channel V. I was 19 or 20 years old, and I worked with them till I was about 24, 25. And coming back to your question about urban and rural, I with Channel V, being a yuppie Bandra boy, I did have the opportunity of traveling the length and breadth of India because I was to be their travel host. So I did quite very much understand what rural India was at that point of time because I traveled extensively through the country by the time I was 24. And till date, people ask me, "What have you studied?" And I say, "I studied traveling in India because I did a lot of that from 19 to 24." And I thought it was quite an amazing experience to have at a young age. So by the time I was 24, I remember having a conversation with my boss of the channel and said, I was put to judge one of the first reality shows on television called Pop Stars. And I was judging Pop Stars and I was like, I joined Channel V to do their travel. And I said, yeah, why are you making me sit in a studio? I don't want to. Why am I judging people? I mean, I don't want to judge people. But anyway, I did it. I did Pop Stars. And uh, I remember saying during Pop Stars, telling my boss, I'm really tired. I feel like I've grown out of this kind of content and I want to quit. And he said to me, he said, because I was very popular then as a VJ, he said, you're really popular, ride the wave, don't run away now, don't quit now when you're on top of your game. And if you stay for another 3 or 4 months, I will give you the biggest travel show you've ever done in your life. And and so then I stayed on and I did a show called V on the Run for them, which was driving across the whole country. In 2004, I did that show. And I was 25 years old, and that was the last time I did anything big for Channel V. I did one show for them, but that was just a 1 day a week as to give them for a couple of years after that. But by the time by the time I finished that show in 2004, I pretty much was done with being a VJ, and I was trying to focus more on an acting career, from then. And then my brother Nikhil happened, Rock On happened. So the growing up was very sort of organic, I think. It was very, the transition from VJ to acting was very organic. And I took my time. It was a hard image to break away from. For for a long period of time, all the roles I was getting offered were in the same realm of being a cool, yuppie young guy on TV. Only with my brother Nikhil, Avarapan. So there were conscious decisions like the role in Avarapan, Wo Lamhe, Rock On. Rock On again, KD was cool, but I think Wo Lamhe, Avarapan, my brother Nikhil, these were conscious decisions that when I got offered the films, I thought about and said, wow, this really breaks that imagery, and takes me into another space. So definitely it's something I want to look at doing.
And of course, now this one. And when you see all these actors and the energy exchange that happens between the actor, what was a huge takeaway? You have Sharif there, you have Chandan Roy Sanyal there, you have Amruta Khanvilkar. So this ensemble of energy as well, because acting is all about reciprocation. So reacting to all these energies, one show, were you looking for any elements that did perhaps act as a differential, so to speak?
You're always looking for that, Pratham, as an actor. At least I am always looking for it. I'm looking for good actors to throw things at me. I keep saying this, one of the greatest joys for me when I was doing Out of Love was working with Rasika. Rasika, I feel, is a great actor, and she's a trained actor, very sort of got all the schooling right. So it's nice to work with a trained actor who knows some tricks, and I'm sort of I've learned on the job. So I'm always looking for actors who can throw things at you and then you can react with them. Because acting is a lot about reacting, as you rightfully said. So in a show like 36 Days, when you have great actors around you, you long for, think for them to throw things at you that kind of make you also think and make you also do things differently from what you would usually do with scenes. And I have some great scenes in 36 Days. There's a lovely scene with a couple of scenes with Chandan, but there's one lovely scene with Chandan and me and Kenny together, and I really enjoyed doing that scene. It's a dynamic of boys hanging out in the evening, men who are still trying to be boys hanging out in the evening together, having a drink together. And it's a lovely scene. It's Kenny's scene, actually. Me and sort of Chandana around and influencing the scene, but the main center of attention is Kenneth. And it's a lovely, lovely scene between us. Another scene just between me and Chandan. The great scenes between me and Shruti, where she plays my wife, and it's quite a sort of strained relationship that we have. they're lovely, very sort of romantic but underlayered with a lot of tension scenes between me and Neha. There are a couple of scenes with the actors who play my children in the show. So I mean, it's quite especially when you have such a nice ensemble and a strong ensemble, a good bunch of actors to work with. It makes being on the set fun. It keeps you on your toes. You can't be slacking. You have to sort of keep coming up and thinking, okay, man, I can't drop this. These guys are doing a fantastic job. I can't drop it completely. One actor I'm a big fan of is Sharib, and I don't think I had we had scenes together where it's a larger scene with lots of activity happening. But I wish I had some strong interactions with him. I didn't have that, so I missed that opportunity. Hopefully, something else Sharib and me will do together. Though Amruta and me, who play Sharib's wife, we had a one scene only together, which is a beautiful little interaction with us. So yeah, I mean, Shern's again another great actor, that Shanaz Patel, that she plays Kenneth's wife in the show, and I respect her. I know her also for many years. She's a friend, and I didn't have any strong scenes with her. I wish I get a chance to act with her also properly again.
Yeah. Yeah. One last question, Purab, and I'm going to put you on the spot with this one. Who is a bloody hottest babe in this one?
Who is the
bloody hottest babe in this one? We see so many gorgeous women around you.
But it has to
in
be
this
Neha.
one. Who's the hottest one?
Definitely Neha, because of them, as you said, there are many good-looking people on the show, but Neha's the one who's only very bloody because she's been murdered.
She's right back in the center.
She's
on the poster or the otherwise.
Very, very bloody. The splash of blood on the, what is it? I think it's a tulip. I'm forgetting which flower it is, either tulip or an orchid. I think it's a tulip.
So on that bloody note, we depart. 36 Days is the name.
Yeah. Please do watch it.
Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers,
I will,
man.
and I will review it as well.
All right. Great. Super. Brother.
Cheers. Goodbye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Likewise.